Hello everyone, this will be everything you need to know before the third season of His Dark Materials. Alright, let's go! The story follows Lyra Belacqua, who was led to believe that her parents died when she was a baby, and that her only family member is her uncle, Lord Asriel. That was a lie, because it turns out that her uncle Asriel is actually her father, and her mother, Mrs Coulter, is just about the scariest person in this show. Actually, she's actually the scariest creature in this show. Let me explain. In their world, everybody's born with a demon. To me, it looks like it should be pronounced daemon.
I know you're obsessed with me.
And a demon is basically an animal that shares the same soul with the person they was born with. That means if I was somehow able to unalive Mrs Coulter, her little monkey demon dies. If I was somehow able to unalive the monkey, she dies. And their world is also ruled by the Magisterium, which is basically like the Roman Catholic Church. Heresy, blasphemy, all that junk. Anyways, long story short, Mrs Coulter, with the help of the Magisterium, kidnaps a bunch of children to experiment on in the north. One of the kids captured was a boy by the name of Roger, who is Lyra's best friend. So Lyra, with the help of the gypsies who had their children taken, traveled to the north to go find them. While in the north, thanks to a device called the alethiometer, which is a device that tells you the truth as long as you know how to read it. Anyways, with the help of the alethiometer, Lyra is able to make two new friends, Lee Scoresby and Yorick Burnison, an armored bear. With the help of those two and a witch by the name of Serafina Pekkala,
She's good.
They were able to save most of the kids from Mrs Coulter. The rest of the kids were basically zombies, because the experiment that Mrs Coulter was running was cutting the kids from their demons, and when that happens, the kids basically become zombies. Yeah, Lyra's mother is a pretty bad person, and her father is just as bad. You see, after rescuing the kids and helping Yorick become king of the armored bears, Lyra and Roger go and visit Asriel, who's already in the north doing research. That research is on a thing called dust, which can't be seen but is attracted to adults, and the Magisterium calls it sin. Asriel then discovers that there's a city in the sky and wants to go there. He can better study dust, and to get there he needs to open a window into that reality, and the way he does it is by unaliving Roger. Rest in peace, Roger. And sadly, Lyra witnesses the whole thing, and Asriel takes the portal after talking to Marissa. Lyra then chases after Asriel through the portal. At the same time, the first season ends with a boy by the name of Will Perry on Earth taking a similar portal to hide from the police. Season 2 takes place right after the first season, where after taking the portal, both Lyra and Will end up in the same world, and we learn some very important information. In this third world, the first world being Lyra's world, the second being Will's world, there's a history of a knife called the subtle knife, which is a knife that is so sharp that it can cut through realities and kill immortals. The creators of the subtle knife used the knife selfishly, which allowed for creatures called specters to come into their world and slowly kill them. But specters are only able to be seen by adults and they only kill adults. Thanks to the massive window that Asriel created, tons of specters have gone into this third world and killed most of the adults in the city. That being said, Will and Lyra find each other and quickly become best friends. Lyra, thanks to the alethiometer, finds out that she needs to help Will find his father. And Will finds out that his father, John Perry, who is presumed dead for many years, is actually alive. Everybody this season is in search for answers. So let's go down the list. Lyra, who's in search of what dust is, runs into Dr. Malone, who's actually studying dust. He's on Earth, so it's called dark matter. With Lyra's help, Dr. Malone is able to find out what dust is, which is actually angels. And the angels, aka dust, tell her that she needs to go through the window and go to the third world. Dr. Malone does exactly that in search for answers. Lyra also runs into Boreal, who's in search for Lyra and the subtle knife. Boreal actually works for Mrs Coulter. Luckily for Lyra, she gets away from Boreal, but Boreal couldn't get away from Mrs Coulter, because it turns out that Mrs Coulter can actually control the specters in the third world. So she quickly unalives Boreal because he wasn't ambitious enough. So rest in peace, Boreal. Will, who's in search of his father, finds and becomes the bearer of the subtle knife, which means that he was chosen by the knife, but also that he had to lose 2 fingers.
That's all yours.
Mr. Lee Scoresby, who's in search of Lyra, and Dr. Grumman actually finds John Perry, who's actually Dr. Grumman, but he doesn't know that. And both Lee and John Perry go through the portal in search of Lyra, but instead all Lee found was his death. So rest in peace, Lee. John Perry actually reunited with his son Will. He had just enough time to tell Will that he needs to use his knife to help Asriel before he was killed by the Magisterium. So rest in peace, John. The Magisterium is also there to find Lyra. The reason is that there's a prophecy surrounding Lyra, and that prophecy is that Lyra will bring about great change and the downfall of the Magisterium, and that she also has a second name, and that name is Eve before the fall. They probably want to kill Lyra. And the witches go through the portal in search of Lyra because they want to protect her. We find out that a great war is about to break out. And that war is between the Authority and Asriel. The authority is essentially God in the universe. So Asriel is in search for fighters and recruits what looks to be angels to his team. And what Asriel wants to do with this war is to free mankind from the grip of the authority, which is basically like the Magisterium, but unseen. The season ends with Mrs Coulter finding Lyra and taking her away. In a box.
Yeah, she's scary.
Yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions, but if I didn't, be sure to leave a comment. I read pretty much all of them. And if you like that video and want to see more like it, leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also, I think you might like this video. I don't know. Let me know how it goes. That's it.